Tonight, a major News Channel 5 investigation raises serious questions about Tennessee's war on drugs.
Among those questions, are some police agencies more concerned about making money off the drugs than stopping them?
Well, at the center of this months-long investigation are laws that let officers pull you over looking for cash. And get this, they don't even have to charge you with a crime to keep your money.
As News Channel 5 Chief Investigative Reporter Phil Williams discovered, those kinds of stops are now happening almost every day in Middle Tennessee.
What you're about to see is how police agencies across Tennessee make money. A tractor-trailer stopped for a traffic violation leads to a search and the discovery of large blocks containing almost $200,000 cash that officers keep on the suspicion that it's drug money.
What's wrong with having large amount of cash?
Corwin Petrosian refuses to admit that there's anything suspicious about the stash that police discovered in the truck he owns. Officers later released his father, who was driving, without filing a single charge. And authorities cut a deal that let Petrosian come to Tennessee to get his big rig back.
If I am a criminal, if they allege me to be a criminal, why would they settle? They do not just let criminals go.
In general, it was seized because, based on our evidence and probable cause, it's illegal drug proceeds.
Still, DA Kim Helper admits what makes the Petrosian case a bit unusual is the location. The traffic stop occurred here in Smith County near the Carthage exit, but the officers work for Helper's 21st Judicial District Drug Task Force out of Franklin, more than an hour away. Her officers patrol that area under a deal where they give a cut of any cash they seize to the agency that owns that stretch of road.
It's a way to make money for your task force, honestly?
Well, you know, when you say make money, I guess it is a way for us to continue to fund our operations.
Do you have any large amounts of money, tiene mucho dinero en su truck y trailer?
Under civil forfeiture, you give law enforcement a direct and perverse incentive to go out and try to take as much property from citizens as possible.
What we're doing, we're taking advantage of how the laws are, to use the money to be able to put back to fight the drugs.
Dixon Police Chief Ricky Chandler heads the board for the 23rd Judicial District Drug Task Force, which has made millions off of seizures in its counties, Humphreys, Dixon, and Cheatham.
So everything's paid through seizures and fines.
So if these officers out on the interstate don't come up with cash, then they might lose their jobs.
Well, it's a possibility, yes.
Out here on the interstate, interdiction officers have a choice. Conventional wisdom is that the drugs come in from Mexico on the eastbound side, but the money goes back on the west. While both agencies have made some big drug cases, we spotted both the 23rd and Dye staging time and time again with their backs to the drug side. In fact, a review of daily activity sheets kept by the 23rd discovered that when officers noted the location of their traffic stops, there were 10 times as many on the money side.
We want both sides of the road worked.
It looks like that they're not concerned about stopping the drugs, that they just want the money.
That's what it looks like.
Is that the case?
And that shouldn't be the case, but that's what it looks like.
It shows that the police are really focusing not on trying to get the drugs, not on trying to enforce the drug laws and stop that flow throughout the country. They're focused on getting the money.
But some people have hired lawyers after their cash was taken, and sometimes after months and months of litigation, judges have ruled that the money really never had anything to do with drug dealing at all. Kristen.
You know, Phil, I'm sure a lot of people are surprised by two things. One, that officers can pull you over looking for cash.
Right.
But then two, that they could take your money even though you're not charged with anything.
And get this, you know, it happens all the time, even when drivers might actually be involved in drug trafficking. Tomorrow night, we've got some incredible police video that you've got to see. In it, an officer tells a suspected drug courier that he can walk if he coughs up his cash.
Well, new video obtained by News Channel 5 Investigates raises even more questions about whether police are profiting from the war on drugs.
It shows an interstate interdiction officer offering to trade the freedom of two truckers for their cash.
And the DA says it's just good police work. But critics say it's a prime example of how the rules have been twisted by laws that let agencies keep the money they seize.
Tonight, News Channel 5 Chief Investigative Reporter Phil Williams has that video.
Here in rural Hickman County on a darkened stretch of westbound Interstate 40, two California truckers will soon be given a tough choice.
You're going to have to trust me or you're going to have to go out on a limb and see what happens once we find it. potentially face a criminal prosecution or hand over the cash that the interdiction officer suspects is hidden somewhere in their tractor-trailer. Agents will recover piles of suspected drug money, almost $500,000, money that their agency, the 21st Judicial District Drug Task Force, will get to keep. The incident begins as a routine traffic stop, except in this case, agents are specifically looking for drug money heading back to Mexico.
You wouldn't have a problem if I searched your truck or your trailer for any items mentioned?
As the time passes, suspicions are aroused by discrepancies in the trucker's stories, but officers are not finding anything up in the refrigerated trailer known as a reefer, so the agent begins threatening the truckers with criminal prosecution.
Money laundering is what it's called, and it's a federal offense. The good thing for you is, when we seize money, we don't deal with the feds. We seize it ourselves. And if it ain't your money, and you say, Agent Owens, it ain't my money, I don't know how it got there.
He's essentially offering him his defense, isn't he?
I don't think he is, because I think he recognizes at this point that the transport of money just through the state is not a crime under our money laundering statute.
Does it not make sense that I'm trying to help you? Because he honestly can't think for a second that we ain't going to stay here until we find it. Here's the thing, all right? Don't talk to him. Just listen. Just listen, okay? Do you want to go home? I sure do.
Then the officer assures the driver that if they cough up the cash, they will not be asked to rat out their accomplices.
Hey, I'm not asking you if you have knowledge about it, and I won't ask you if you have knowledge about it. You understand me? All I'm asking you is, where's the money?
Throughout this incident, the officers tell him, you do not have to tell us where you got this money.
I don't even care where you got it. All right? I want the product. That's what I'm after.
Is that police work?
Police work to the extent that these officers, from my perspective, are trying to work with these guys who are merely the couriers.
But at no point does any officer ever ask, what's the name of the big fish in this case?
Right. And I agree with you. Should they have asked it? Maybe.
Finally, an hour into the traffic stop,
We'll come back. You sign these forms saying you don't know anything about it. You're just claiming it. It's not yours. And it's done.
To the back of the reefer. I don't know how it got there. Not mine.
We're good.
the driver comes clean. A short time later, this task force will be $500,000 richer.
Now, we also found cases in the Dixon area where subjects supposedly admitted that the money was from drugs. Not only were they released without charges, but we're told that the video evidence of those stops was later destroyed.